Well, hello everybody. Here's your girl painting Alexandra with a new stream, and well, this is a special occasion because we have somebody live on Twitch, on Discord, in the background as a special guest. He is the producer and team leader of the audiobook program Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms Madrigal. His name is Chris, and well, welcome to the stream, Chris.
Hello, Alexandra, and thank you for having me on. It's really an honor to be on.
Yeah. So Chris asked me if I could introduce him to the community and pledge his project to the community, so that he could talk a little bit about it. And well, go for it. Show the people on the internet what is it all about, what you're looking for, and I'll be painting along while you're doing that. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm guessing people know what Age of Sigmar is. So it's a high fantasy based in the Mortal Realms.
There's some background noise.
The little delay is confusing me, but I'll try to ignore it. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, you'll get the bells in the background.
Yeah.
Where was I?
Well, you said a little bit about fantasy.
Yeah, what we're doing is making an audio series. Yes, I'm making an audio series based in the Mortal Realms from Age of Sigmar. So we're looking to make it dark and gritty and as grounded as you can be in a high fantasy setting. So we're trying to keep the characters, have them acting as realistic as we could expect people to under the circumstances, with the different enemies and different races that are going to be interacting with. So so obviously with it being Age of Sigmar, there are going to be many enemies that are going to be inside the city Madrigal, which is where this is going to be based, at least season 1. And obviously outside the city. So season 1 is, like I say, is going to be dealing mainly with the threats that are both inside the city and the ones that are coming from outside, like things that are going to be attacking. Trying not to give too much away as regards the plot.
Yeah, okay.
So we are currently auditioning, and the site to visit if you're anybody interested in auditioning is called Casting Call Club, and the search would be for Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms. We currently have about 20 open positions. 19 of those are voice acting. One of them is like an audio engineer for editing the audio.
Okay.
And I'll go through them. So we'll start at the top. One that's become very popular for auditions wise is the narrator. We're going to need a narrator for setting the scene on beginning of most episodes and some different scenes within the episodes themselves. Then going into the characters, we have an old sergeant. We've just given them basic names for now. We do have the character names, but the writer wanted us to keep as much kind of secret as we can. But yeah, we've got an old sergeant that works with the captain. I'll be voicing one of the characters, and yeah, the old sergeant is going to be the old sergeant is going to be helping out the captain, and it's going to be a bit of a go-between between the captains and the heroes that they'll be working with and the like. We have a dwarf weapons master. A dwarf warrior type that is always angry and always drunk generally. We have an elven archer. There's a chancellor character. So he is obviously has a lot to do with running the governance of the city. We have a corporal who is kind of a messenger. We have a noblewoman, a female rogue that works with the noblewoman. I've got a female knight that also works with the noblewoman, kind of defends her, and like there is an old general who is very invested in defending the city, but also has his vices as well. We have a witch hunter character,
Witch hunter,
a warrior priest. Then we've got some Stormcast. We have a Stormcast commander, a Stormcast priest, and then we have some Skaven characters.
So Stormcast priest, you mean something like
a wall
this one here?
Guy. We have a Skaven in. One second. Yes, that's the guy. Is it Lord Relictor? I forget.
Yeah, this is Lord Relictor, and this is the priest variant.
Stormcast characters.
Sorry, guys, we have a little bit of a delay. He is answering to my voice chat here. I think we will switch that out. Please unmute me here in Discord and mute me on the stream instead. I guess for answering questions, and so the delay is too much.
Okay.
So when I have a question, I can push the button, so we don't have the delay.
Okay, there we go.
Test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly, yes.
Wonderful. So, you said a little bit about the characters now, the name, and a little bit about the role, but could you go a little bit more into detail about one or two of the roles? Who's the main character, and what is his main motivation, for example, and something like that?
Well, as it stands, we have 2 or 3, well, maybe more, it's like 4 or 5 lead characters. They're all in different positions within the actual city itself. So let's see if I can get just pull up the character list from my server. messages. Okay. So yeah, we have the captain of the watch, who's originally from what was previously an alliance outside of this city and other cities and towns around the outlying area of Madrigal. And basically, it's the same sort of thing with most of the characters. All the main characters in here are from other parts of the outlying areas of this city. The pact used to be an alliance between this city and the other towns and cities around.
So what springs directly into my mind is when you are writing those characters, do you have specific miniatures from the game itself in mind? So that somebody could actually paint those miniatures and replay some of the stories, for example?
I don't see why not. All the characters that we have mentioned are basically in the game itself. Obviously, some of them will no longer be in production. I think Games Workshop took away the Witch Hunter model, but and probably the Dwarven Engineer they might have taken away. But as far as most of the other characters go, they're all pretty basic. There's a varying types of Skaven that are still in the story that are still in the game. The Stormcaster, obviously, you can get hold of. Because it's Lord Relictor and Celestant, or Lord Celestant. There's a couple of people that would be considered as Cult of Sigmar. We've got a couple of those.
Doki Doc Dawkins in chat just mentioned the Cocksmith from the Dwarves. Does still exist?
It still exists. Then there we go. That's something that you could easily use as the Dwarven Engineer. Let's see. There are also obviously other miniature ranges that will do these or similar characters. I have a Raging Heroes miniature that would make a good Witch Hunter. And a lot of the Elven art pretty easy to come by. And then most of the other cast are basically just human variants, humans or dwarves.
Yeah, that sounds very nice. So let's say somebody is now interested in one or two of those positions and want to audition for your program. So how do they do that?
So the easiest way to do it and the most efficient way of doing it is going to the website Casting Call Club, where I found and started doing my work as a voice actor. It's free to join and to sign up. There are literally hundreds of projects that are always up there so that you can audition for. And yeah, so once you're on Casting Call Club, all you need to do is do a search for Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms, and it'll appear on that page, and then find one or more of the positions that you'd like to audition for. I like to encourage people to audition for more than one, because if they might not be suitable for, you might find that they might be suitable for one more than another, and there might be other people that are better for other characters.
Okay, and in case for the auditions, there is on the website are some lines. Are the people supposed to read those lines then?
Yes, yes. There's usually 2 to 3 lines on them, and all you need to do is record yourself saying those lines, and I guess try to put a bit of emotion onto them, depending on how you think they should be delivered. Obviously, context is difficult to do with 1 or 2 lines, but when I was writing the lines, I gave them the pretty kind of self-explanatory as to how they need to be said. So,
So, are there any stage directions for the voices itself on the website? So, for example, if there's dwarven engineer, is there a specific type? How he should be spoken? Should he be in a Scottish accent or in an Australian accent or without any accent? Should he be grumpy or rough or something like that?
well, this is why I like to leave it at this. There's no direction for how you have to sound, because I like people to try their own thing. It's like, do your own thing, maybe do something new. For example, a lot of people, thanks to The Lord of the Rings and Gimli, put on a Scottish accent when voicing dwarves, whereas in an old live action role play that I used to do, which was that was in the UK, all the dwarves in that system were played. They all had like thick Yorkshire accents. So if you think of, but had like gravelly versions. If you think of like a Sean Bean, but with a really gruff, gravelly type of voice, then that's kind of how the dwarves in that system would talk. So yeah, at the end of the day, put any kind of accent or spin on it that you want. If people don't get the part that they are going for, then with there being about 20 characters that we need, there's a good chance that they'll get offered an opportunity to play one of the other characters. And at the very least, there'll be plenty of places for extras. I have no doubt, because you always need extras to do 1 or 2 lines here or there.
Yeah. Background characters are always important. So, would you also be interested in some questions from the audience here on Twitch right now? If you guys have any questions for Chris, then maybe go ahead, put them here into the chat.
Feel free, shoot away.
Other than that, talk a little bit maybe about yourself. How did you start voice acting and such?
Yeah, well, I started about, how long have I been voice acting? A year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now. I started voice acting after a friend at my local gaming store. This was after I moved to Spain. This girl told me that I sounded like a narrator when I was talking, so I was like, oh, okay. And before then, I'd never considered voice acting. And then after she said that, I was like, well, maybe it's worth me giving it a go. So yeah, I ended up looking around, and I found the casting call club, and that's when I started looking for work as a narrator, and ended up doing. I've been doing voice work on a bunch of Skyrim mods and the Star Wars Legends audio series that I'm part of now and have been since it started. So it's been a lot of fun.
Sounds like a wonderful journey. We have a first question here from Kesafia8. Is there a script ready to go?
As of now, the script is currently in development. We've only been working together for uh, a few days now, maybe a week at the most. This is very early beginnings, very humble and early beginnings. So this is where we still have so many roles to fill, and are still looking for somebody to uh, edit the audio. Because I could give it a go, I could try, but I have a little experience in editing from my YouTube channel. But I'd be learning as I go, and I'd rather have somebody um, experienced in that role. But yeah, the script is still under development. I'd imagine we'll probably be looking at by the end of the month. I'd imagine we should have our first episode ready, or at least a good outline, because it's all voluntary. There's nobody's being paid for this, so it's in the spare time, and all I can really do is try to keep people motivated and keep working as they can. I can't ask for people more than that than to try.
And what for audio equipment should the people have that are trying to audition for you? Is there some specific requirement for a microphone, maybe a pop filter, a specific program that you're using, something like that?
With any microphone, I would say a pop filter is pretty much a must. It just stops so many small complications in the actual recording process. A good microphone is better, because the clearer we can get the recording, then the less editing has to be done in the actual editing stage. In the software, like for example, my microphone is the the blue snowball ice, and lots of people use it on YouTube and Twitch. It's a very good quality microphone for a reasonable price, and the recordings come out very clear, and it's very sensitive, so you can hear things from quite a distance away. Then, as far as recording like software goes, I can only speak as to what I use, which is Adobe Audition. But somebody did mention on their Discord the other day that there is a recording software called Audacity, which you can use, which is free. So, at the end of the day, I don't expect people to go out and spend hundreds of euros on a brand new microphone. Just work with what you have and try to get as best quality, like as clear as you can, recording.
So no professional sound booth necessary.
No. The thing is, we can't expect that. It's from other people that are experienced voice actors. Then, yeah, that they'll usually will have all this equipment before the audition, so that makes it a great deal easier. But for people with no experience, I can't expect them to already have the quality equipment. If they're streamers on YouTube or Twitch, then there's a good chance they're going to have a fairly decent microphone with a pop filter and at least some recording software. So it's a good start.
And let's say somebody is taken for a role. Will there be auditions? Not auditions. The recording process itself. Will they simply get the line from you via text, and then they record it for themselves and send you the file, or is there some kind of live audio recording, like here on Discord or something like that, that the director or yourself or whoever sound director can directly intervene and make the best out of the recording?
Right. What typically happens is once the script is ready, then once it's ready, it's distributed to all the voice actors, and the lines will be named. So you'll see where your character appears, and then as the script progresses, you'll see where your character interacts with the others. So you'll get the script and you'll look through it and go, here's my character, he has this line, he has these lines, speaking to this other character, and then you record each line independently and as a separate piece, and then send them to probably to one of the people on Discord, or we'll set up a specific channel on Discord for you to submit your lines. And yeah, it'll be from then. It'll be a case of just recording your lines and post them where you're required to, for the editor to then download and process and edit.
We have here a question again from Kesafia8. You think scenes could be recorded together with each person in the scene, so it would flow better?
You could do that. That is one way of doing that. The only issues that can happen there is when you, for example, have people that live in Europe and then you have people that live in the States. Then one of those people is going to be, some of those people are going to be up at 2 or 3 in the morning potentially, or it makes scheduling something like that can be very difficult.
Yeah, I imagine that. And also, if you want to have them recorded at the same time, stream delay could be a problem.
Yes, exactly. This is why it seems to work a lot better if you can record the lines separately. Then you can edit them together, so you actually get a better conversation going without awkward delays or anything.
Yeah, makes sense. So, is anything else you want to add to the entire thing? Anything you wanted to mention?
Let's see my talking points. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Just one thing. All being well, if the first season goes well, I'd be expecting 10 to maybe 12 episodes at the most, where about 10 minutes per episode. But if that does well and people are still happy to keep working on it, then the idea for like a season 2 would be exploring the actual multiple realms themselves, as opposed to being focused on the one city. So I'll be able to do more adventures and in different environments and meet different people and whatnot.
Okay, this sounds very interesting. So aimed at 10 episodes via 10 minutes each. That's a lot of voice lines that need to be recorded. What do you guess is the normal amount of minutes of voice lines the let's say one of the main characters would be facing?
Well, through my experience as a voice actor, and even I've even had like some lead roles for a certain amount of time. The You tend not to get lots of minutes worth of lots of dialogue all in the one place because there are so many characters that people interact with and the potential for different scenes going on within each episode. I mean, the chances are you might get 10 to 12 lines in one episode at the most. I wouldn't expect any more than that. Um, so only a couple of minutes worth per character at the most. These are the lead characters. Obviously, we've got. You'd think 10 minutes is a lot to fill, but when you have 7 or 8 people doing 2 minutes worth of dialogue, that 10 minutes goes pretty quickly.
Another thing that is might be interesting, where I hear the bell sound in the background. Um, what about well, other sounds? Who's doing that? So, for example, if swords clash and footsteps are done, or a door is opened, and things, are you just taking Creative Commons things from a free library? Do you produce those sounds effect for yourself, or do you completely ignore those sounds?
Sorry, I missed that. What did you actually ask again?
Well, I asked about general sound effects that will
Oh,
be
sound
added
effects.
to an audiobook. Do you use a public library of sound effects for that? Do you produce them yourself?
Well, this is why one of the reasons we um, an audio engineer, somebody to do the editing of the audio, and put these things in there because, like I say, if I was to do it, I mean, I'd be happy, but I would struggle and it wouldn't be great quality because I don't know these things. I'd imagine it'd be searching through a stock of um, free to use, um, non like royalty free sound sources, but I wouldn't know where to look. But yeah, would be using some basic um, things that we don't have to use. Get the rights to use basically.
So, for example, if somebody is in the business of sound files, and he could um, help you out with such things, would you be interested in something like that?
Absolutely. At this stage, we can use all the help we can get, and yeah, I'm happy for anybody to, even if it's just telling us where to go to find these resources.
Okay, we have another question here about how to get in touch with you, and about the Discord server, if it is public, if everybody could join your Discord server.
Um, it's not public at the moment. It's invite only, but they can. Let's see. They can, if I guess if they're on your Discord, because I'm on your Discord as well. You could request an invite or.
Sorry,
Let's re-
my Discord is not public. This is my personal Discord here.
right. Yeah, because we try to keep the server as like free as possible so that it's only people that are going to be in the actual series, just to keep it kind of keep it free, so people can't spoil anything at the end of the.
Yeah, makes sense. So the Discord is for the actors themselves.
Yes. Trying to think where else would be a good way to ask about it.
Do you have a open Facebook page, for example, or an Instagram page or something like that?
There is no Facebook or Instagram page for this at the moment, but that does give me idea. I might something that I'll have to look at putting together. Maybe a Facebook page for it would be a really good idea.
Now, well, as a YouTuber and video producer myself, I can highly encourage you to introduce and include all the social medias that you can get: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Something I'll get on to doing. Because yeah, at the minute it's just we'll just have the Discord server for the people that are working on the project, the auditions, and the casting call club.
Okay, let's just say if you update those in the near future, I will definitely put the links down there in the video description on YouTube that people might click on them and find them this way.
Okay, cool.
So we have been going on over your page now for almost 40 minutes now.
Wow.
I guess the attention span on YouTube is not that long, so we should shortly come to an end. Maybe one or two final questions from the audience if they are interested in. Maybe some last words from you now.
Yeah, I'm good for any questions that I could potentially answer. Obviously, since we're still in the very early stages, there's not a lot I can answer about the characters or the actual plot right now without giving too much away.
So nothing else you can think of. I had an idea about the Skaven you are talking about. The voice acting for the Skaven could be interesting. So
yes,
I think some old viewers like me might remember an old Warhammer game called Warhammer Shadow of the Horned Rat. And there are some Skaven voice acted, and you hear them, Tankwall, hate, and they are always repeating themselves and kind of squeaky voice. Are you looking for something like that or something totally different?
Yes, I mean, something like that, talking really quick voice. I think a lot of people that know Skaven in most games, most Warhammer games, like understand that's how the Skaven sound, and ideally, yeah, that's what we go for. If you can do something a little more sinister or creepy, then go for it. But yeah,
Sinister and creepy, yes.
exactly.
Okay, and what character will you be voicing?
Well, as of what I was thinking, it looks like I'm going to be voicing. Where did I put that tab? Oh, there it is. The watch captain. I don't know exactly what he's going to be doing like right now, but I can't see him being like massively important in the fighting side of things, more of delegating people, giving people, telling people where to go and what to do, sort of thing, giving the quest effectively. But that's the only one that I'll be doing as of right now. But there's a good chance I'll be possibly doing like some kind of Skaven or something at some point. If the roles don't get filled, people will may be required to do more than one.
So, you're saying as a producer, you are more or less taking background roles that aren't filled and minor roles, not something major.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with doing any kind of lead role, but there are not going to deny there are better people out there at voice acting than me that I know from my other projects that I'm working on, and if they can, if I think they do a better job than I can, then I'll give them that role. But yeah, for me, I'm just happy bringing people together and getting them to work on could potentially be a really good audio series.
Okay, well, I'm hoping for the best, and maybe I can get a minor role here and there too. We'll see about that. So, yeah, that was Chris from Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms Madrigal, and well, if you want to follow this project, then check out the links in the description of the YouTube video. There you can find them. Maybe Chris can also post them here quickly into the Twitch chat for the people here in the chat themselves. Well, maybe we have a final question from the audience. If not, then I would say, yeah, thank you for being here on my Twitch stream and introducing your project to the public. And
thank you for having me. I mean, it's just awesome to be able to talk about with somebody.
Sorry, my bot killed those links. Sorry for that. Just post me the links, please, here on Discord, and I can post them. Oh, you're breaking up. Test 1 2 3. Can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Now I can hear you again. Discord was acting up.
Yeah, it does that.
So there you have it. That's the link. casting-call.club/projects/h-of-sigma-mortal-realms. That's the link. And, well, I guess that is the stream. Any final words?
Again, but...
And Discord is acting up.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for being here, Chris. And, well, to you, Tubies, we see us in the next video. You're Alexandra. See you.